Alright, let me introduce you to my starting character, the Scion, Cyclone, Shockwave, General's Cry build. That is a mouthful. It is running on the Saboteur for all of these bad boy effects, which every single one of them is fully capitalized and used in this build. And then it's also going Champion, which every one of these stats is fully used and capitalized as well. The synergies in these two Scion ascendancies are spectacular. Now I'm thinking of adding a third one, which would be probably the Pathfinder. The Pathfinder is pretty much the only other one that has really good synergies. The attack speed isn't too nice, but it doesn't hurt to have a little extra attack speed. Removing bleed is excellent. Flask is excellent. Movement speed during Flask effect is excellent. And if I don't do that one, then I will do a Raider. Raider also has some pretty good ones as well. And then in the final form of this build, if I continue to play it and don't go deeper into a new class, is going to probably have to be the Assassin. And then I'm going to have to start going crit. Now let's look at some of the tech. We got the resistances here, immunity to corrupting blood. We got this bad boy, which gives +1 to elemental resistances. We have this bad boy, which gives +1 to elemental resistances. And then we have my gear. I am rocking a brass dome, which I finally 6-linked, and a ring with vulnerability on hit. This ring right here does +3 to the level of sockets with petrified blood. So I have a level 24 petrified blood. That is comboing with the blood notch, which I hit a couple divines to finally get 59. I think it took me 4 divines, which is still a little cheaper than it would have been to buy a 59% from the market. And then I'm going up here to make my stun threshold based on energy shield, so I am basically invulnerable to small hits. Still a little weak to damage over time and big hits, but hopefully the brass dome will prevent me from gritting crit. And then the Pantheon will help with damage over time. I haven't leveled it up all the way because I don't really want to just yet. Let's take a look. What else we got? We got a large cluster jewel. Regular jewel, which is pretty good. Damage, life, cold res, 5% life recoup. We got a medium cluster jewel for area damage, which is going to be towering threat and titanic swings, of course. And then we have a life node here for Fettle, which is giving me more lightning resistance, more chaos resistance, and more life. This is a pretty good rolled one. Can't really complain. And on my large cluster jewel, I got chaos with my exalted orb. Can't complain there. Doing pretty well. Got 10% more physical attack damage here. And all the mace nodes here doing a hits cannot be evaded because this mace has pretty down negative accuracy. And I'm not going crit, even though the passives on this works pretty well for crit because I'm getting +2 to minimum power charges, which I believe is now 100% crit chance, and +2 to frenzy charges. On top of that, my mace has socketed gems, so supported by level 10 behead, which I think the best skill to use with that is going to be Warcry and Bone Shatter because it's a strike skill and it'll use behead, but I don't get any of the benefits. I still haven't been able to 6-link my mace. I went and bought another mace. Someone sold this one for 1 divine, so I picked it up. And it rolled a bunch of trash that I can't really use. Can't really use any of this. Decay, that's gross. The war cries I could kind of use. I do 1 war cry every 2 seconds. Weapon range, lightning. It's just bad. I'm sad. It's bad, and I'm sad. Now let's take a look at some of my other gear. This is just a high res, life leeched is mana. This one has cooldown reduction. These belts are super hard to roll. I managed to roll this one and the boots. Took forever, but I got 15% cooldown recovery rate on my belt, 15% cooldown recovery rate on my boots, 15% cooldown recovery rate as the passive, and all of that is increasing the cooldown recovery rate of Shockwave. So when I'm casting my Shockwave, its cooldown is very, very low. Let's see, Shockwave, does it actually say the cooldown on it? Attacks per second is not the same as the cooldown. Cooldown, 0.55 seconds. Normally, I believe it is 1 second, so I have it down to 0.55, so it's hitting a Shockwave twice every second, pretty much. And Does it have 100% impale? Chance to impale with hits, 122. That is excellent. On the impale nodes, I am rocking this node. It's impossible to determine the actual damage effectiveness of this, but I imagine it's quite nice. So the idea behind this is the Shockwaves hit an extremely big Shockwave, and then the Cyclone refreshes that Shockwave hit. Now the next upgrade to my build is going to be a Watcher's Eye with Pride, granting 2 additional maximum impales, making 7 impales total, with a chance of refreshing each one on there. That'll be pretty slick, that'll be pretty hot, but that's going to be pricey, and I don't have the divines for that just yet. I prioritize getting tanky. Speaking of tanky, let's take a look at my defenses. My all reses are pretty close to 85. We got cold res, which is 84. I'm torn between lightning and cold, but lightning seems to hit me a little harder than cold damage does, so I got the +1 on lightning right here. My chaos resistance is all the way up to 75. I am pretty thick. My armor is pretty low, but as I'm rolling through, the armor is not so bad. Now for the gym setups. On my Cyclone, I have impale support, pulverize, melee damage support. I'm going to replace that with a, well, let's hit it with a corrupting orb real quick and see if we can make it magical. Dud. I'm going to be replacing that with an awaken one once I decide to. A brutality support, which I will be replacing with an awaken one once I decide to. And then Shockwave support. This spin and win. My Cyclone probably does 10% of my damage. The Shockwave probably 60. And then right now on a 4-link, my General's Cry is probably 30. Right now I'm rocking General's Cry, Brutality, Impale, Sweep, and Maim. I like Sweep because it looks cooler, and that's it. Now, I've been using a lot of different gems for this, and I'm torn on which one is best. Sunder is extremely powerful. It hits hard like a truck, but Earth Shatter has massive AoE, and if it triggers right, it hits harder than Sunder. So I think Earth Shatter is probably the best skill to use with all of this. But I like the way Sweep look, so I'm going to keep using Sweep. Static Strike is extremely fun, and so is Charge Dash, but they convert their damage to lightning, so I can't really do that. I've talked enough. Let's give this a watch. I could put Maven on, but I'm going to put Maven off just so you see the damage that I'm able to do with Droxus. I think I'm at like pretty close to 2 million DPS with the current setup. It might be 1.8. But it's difficult for the game to calculate General's Cry's damage perfectly. It also doesn't take into any consideration that Impale node that has a 10% chance to add another Impale. And since Impale is about half my damage, that should be about a 5% more multiplier. Could be more, could be less. Let us put Sand on so we have more AoE, simply because that sweep looks excellent. I love the way the sweep looks as I'm running through here with those sweeps going on in the background to finish off all these enemies. Bump, bump, bump. It's pretty tanky. It's a little slow simply because my movement speed on my boots isn't 30. Once I get 30% movement speed, it'll be pretty great. It speeds up a little bit because I can cast Frostblink a little faster because of all my CDR. If I get enough sockets, which I don't think I'll have enough sockets because I'll be 6-linking this weapon soon. But if I had enough sockets, I could put Second Wind on there, make it even faster. That one should work. Let's take a look at my defenses as I'm running through here. My armor, it's like a 60-70% reduction. I could throw Determination on there and get it, you know, probably 90% if I threw Determination on there. But I don't think I need it. I might throw it on a little later. It's way more comfortable to run this build with life tap. Or I could try to squeeze. I got enough life if I had more sockets, if I wasn't so socket pressured. I could squeeze in Clarity to pump it up. But for now, I sometimes run out of mana, and it's just sad. It's just a sad time. Hopefully this is my first run with my new body armor, and hopefully all my deaths stop, so I can level up to 74. I imagine on most of the deaths I get will be stopping. I've been getting crit a lot, which will kill me. But now that the crits are stopping from Brass Dome, which is actually one of the main reasons I've got it. I feel I had enough elemental resistances without it. But being immune to crit on top of the armor and the +5, it's just a really good synergization for my defenses. Considering I'm not doing any spell suppress, getting a high elemental resistance like I have is very good. And Brass Dome provides that. And on top of that, I have the awesome node here where all movement penalties from body armor is ignored, making me slightly faster. As you see, my speed is my problem. I do need better boots. My boots are alright, but they're nothing to brag about. Let's see if I can take a look at my boots while these guys hit me. Oh, they're doing their best to try to kill me. They're doing their damnedest. So, you know, you got 81 life, which is really good. Life regeneration, which is solid. Life regeneration rate, which is good. Cooldown recovery rate, which is good. Unaffected by chilled ground. That's not that great. I would like to replace that with something else on my new boots. I almost died. And then only 22% movement speed. I don't know the movement speed, the items you can actually get to roll movement speed. But maybe I can roll something better than 20%, 22. Obviously 24 was the max of the ones I had available. But there might be some type of crafting mod that I'm unaware of that produces better results than 24% movement speed. Getting better boots than that would be quite difficult. But there are better boots than that available. The build is excellent. I've had a blast with it. Right now, it's no longer a cheap build, but it was a pretty cheap build as I was playing with it. The downside with the cheaper variant is just that it died a little bit. Great for softcore, but it couldn't really mess in hardcore too much. Gotta pump up that Droxus. Oh, we got a Breach. I started this whole league with Breach, and actually let's see if a maxed out one of these boys can kill me. Let's just max it out. Easy, moderate, hard, brutal, lethal. Obviously I'm gonna play a little passive and smart and not just be in the mix of things the entire time. It cleared it. Obviously, I could still probably die. I'm not sure if any of them hit that. I don't have any evasion, so all their hits should hit. But I was able to clear that pretty easy. I still haven't done Maven or Uber Elder. I'm trying to get the parts. Those Maven orbs costed a divine. I didn't really feel like paying a divine to buy one. And so I saved up and did one Maven and just utterly failed it. It was disastrous. It was so bad I didn't even post a video. I've showed one of the deaths on stream a few times. I wish I had excuses. I mean, I fight Maven enough, but for some reason, my first fight of Maven, it's always a shit show. I always forget all the mechanics. I forget when the phases happen. You know, you go 3 months without playing this game or 2 months without playing this game, and apparently you forget every fight and every map. So I don't know what maps are good and any of that. But I'll be doing Maven and Uber Elder today on stream. So come watch me die if you are a loser and have nothing else going on in your life. Yeah, let's go back to sand. I like the AoE. When I 6-link it, I might put AoE on the General's Cry just for the giggles, just for the fun. But you see those sweeps, they just look spectacular. And they perform well, too. They're not doing the most amount of damage, they're doing like 30%, but they're proccing They're proccing the Shockwave Impale with that 10% chance to refresh that Shockwave Impale, and since Shockwave is where all my damage is coming from, those help to proc it. Earthquake is really good as well because it hits twice. I think Sunder can get multiple hits. And part of the Saboteur node for the Scion, which is an extremely well designed node for the Scion, is that area effect increase by 30%, which helps quite a bit for this build because everything I have is better with more AoE. Look how slow those sweeps are. I'm getting slowed down from the spider jizz, I think. So those sweeps were going extra slow. Let's kill this dude real quick. Alright, I have confidence that I'll kill him in one shot, so I don't need a portal, and I won't die. So let's take a look at how much damage I can do and what kind of speed I can get this guy down on his knees. Oh, my confidence is shattered. Was able to one-shot me with all of that. Somehow I'm gonna need to get more life. Gonna need more life with this build. I'm gonna pause this video as I walk. No, I'm not gonna pause the video. I'm just gonna walk through. I need to do the walk of shame in public for everyone to see this walk of shame as I slowly get back to the boss, as I bragged about not needing a portal. But you at least get to see that I can't take everything. This is not an unkillable build. Maybe if I put on determination instead of pride, I would have been able to tank that, which is actually probably true. I probably could have tanked that with the determination instead of pride, but I think my damage is gonna be the limiting factor more so than my armor. Obviously, I could have just moved around and avoided it instead of taking a big telegraphed hit. But I wanted to... I don't even have town portals. Must have accidentally put those in my inventory. I wanted to see, you know, what had happened. I also have some other nodes that are giving them more damage from the red buff. It's not the worst, but it's not as much damage as my previous build last league. My main build last league was. Main build last league, I think I was hitting 15 million. This feels between like 1.8 and 2.5, somewhere around that range. I haven't pulled up POB. I'll do that at the end of the video. Since I don't have a town portal, let's exit to character selection. And let's play this bad boy. Put those scrolls in my inventory. Bump, bump. I'll keep that amulet. I might want it. And let's do builder. Path of building. I think I need an update on this bad boy. Maybe the update will allow the impel to modify. Because this impel node doesn't show as a damage buff. It doesn't calculate it. At least it didn't on the last one. Yeah, let's update this. Updating. There we go. Import builds. Start. Passive tree. Items. Skills. Cyclone. Enable in full DPS. General's Cry Sweep. Enable in full DPS. Configuration. We are always on low life. Bum bum bum. We're not really using Onslaught. We have Fortify. We are under, I think it's maximum Warcry buffs. The enemy will be maimed. They will be blinded. They will be taunted. They will be intimidated. They will be crushed. Bump, bump, bump. Let's put Pride at maximum effect for the boss. And enemy is a boss, Guardian Pinnacle. We are at 2.4 million DPS. So says that. Now let's take a look at the tree and see if this does anything. Nope. So it's not taking this 10% into consideration at all when you remove it. And I do think that that 10% is because of the way my build works with multiple things hitting, it's pretty high. Now if we go to the skills on this General's Cry and we add another skill, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's just add, I don't know what we're going to add here, Brutality. Do we not have Brutality? We do have Brutality. Let's just do Bloodthirster. It's going to add more damage. And let's change Sweep for Sunder, which is right above it. Sunder. So if we do a level 21 Sunder, you're going to get 2/6. So Sunder doesn't seem to be that much better than Sweep. 2/5. Which is nice. I don't know if Sweep hit multiple time or what. Need to get a 21 Sweep. So this is what it'll look like with a 6 link. It's only a 5 link now. I highly doubt added chaos damage is going to be the most for DPS. Sometimes it's supposed to sort by full DPS, but it just doesn't work sometimes. I don't know why. So I don't know which one is going to be best. It's probably going to be the one I had on before, but it doesn't matter. I only got a 5 link. Now, if we take a look at the damage down here, the saddest thing of all is Cyclone is doing almost no damage. So 19,000 of this 2.4 million is Cyclone. So 20,000, which is, 200,000, which is like 10%, 8% of the damage is actually from Cyclone. So Cyclone, once again, a useless skill. Only thing Cyclone does is it's a platform to enable other skills. Sweep is doing 36, and Shockwave is doing 700,000, 361, and then Impale is coming from all of these. So I guess Cyclone's a little more than that, because Cyclone takes a part of this Impale. So Impale is doing 1.1 million of my damage. So that Impale is hitting quite nicely, and when I get 2 more stacks of that, it's going to be pretty spectacular. So that's the build. Let me generate the POB here. It was pretty successful for a melee build. Getting to 2.4 million damage while being ultra tanky is not the easiest thing to do because melee's in a pretty bad spot. But I managed to do it with this Scion starter. It's no longer a starter, but it was a starter for a while. That is all. Check you later.